Good morning. It's time to call to order the May 25th, 2017 meeting of the Oklahoma City Airport Trust. First item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the April 27th, 2017 Oklahoma City Airport Trust.
Move approval.
We have a motion. Second. Any discussion? Please cast your votes. And it is approved. Next item on the agenda is to approve the Oklahoma City Airport Trust budget for fiscal year 2018.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before I ask you to approve the budget, I do have a short presentation, please, so I'd like to do that at this time. Karen, go to the next slide and we'll get started. Thank you. So next year's fiscal year 2018 budget, we show a projected budget of $89,590,000 compared to this year's budget of $116,708,000. This is about a $27 million decrease over this year's budget, and over $26 million of that is related to just a reduction in capital spending. Over the last couple of years, we've had a lot of capital projects and a lot of large capital projects.
Mark, is that a typo that says FY 18-19 should be 17-18?
I don't know. Should it be? It should be.
Okay.
You're right. We'll make sure on our other presentation that it doesn't do that too. Thank you for pointing that out. I want to move over to the sources of funds that we have. These are our major categories of airport revenues, and these are airport charges to tenants and users. So our building rents are really comprised of the lease rates for the terminal building and all of the other buildings and hangars that the trust owns and leases out to various tenants. Our landing fee revenues are related to our passenger carriers and our freight carriers, and these are based on a calculated rate per 1,000 pounds of landed weight, and this supports the maintenance of our airfields. Our public parking revenues are related to all of our public parking garages and surface lots, and we have over 7,200 parking spaces at the airport combined. Concession revenues are derived from our food and beverage and retail concessions in the terminal building, as well as the rental car commissions from the 9 companies that are operating in the new rental car center. And then we have fuel sales, which represent fuel flowage fees, and this is a 8 cents per gallon that's assessed on any gallon of fuel that is either retailed on the airport or with those tenants that have self-fueling privileges. We have customer facility charges, which is a user fee that is paying for the debt for the new rental car center, also the operations and maintenance of that facility, as well as the buses. And then we have a substantial amount of revenue for other charges. This comprised of maintenance reimbursements that are in lease components, as well as ground rentals and apron fees. So a total charges to tenants and users of about $58,172,000. We have other sources of revenue as well. Oil and gas is a revenue source we've had for many, many years, although it continues to decline, so we're only projecting $746,000. The interest that we're projecting conservatively for next year is just interest out of our money market interest. We're not really anticipating any investment interest on the Treasury bills that we have invested. We also have passenger facility charges, which is a user fee that supports our capital program. And we have federal and state participation with grants from the Federal Aviation Administration, as well as the Oklahoma Aeronautics Commission. And these are grant funds that are funded at 90%. The Airport Trust pays 10% of the project match, and these are for eligible projects for primarily airfield projects and certain equipment. So total other revenue is $16,480,000. We also are projecting $11,188,000 for carryover. Carryover is the majority of that is from the project fund that's used for our capital program, and it also includes the Mike Monroney Aeronautical escrow account. And then we're projecting $3,750,000 in revenue bond proceeds that are intended to be used on construction. So the total sources of bond proceeds, carryover, and the projected total revenues of $74,652,000 get us to the $89,590,000. In balancing the budget with our uses of funds, we have other services and fees of $14,598,000. This is mainly comprised of a lot of our major contracts with our parking management contract, our janitorial services contract, firefighting contract, and supplemental security contract, as well as many other services. Our commodities are various services and supplies, $1,179,000. Debt requirements from prior financing of previous projects, such as the terminal renovation, the most recent constructed parking garage, and the new rental car center, $12,332,000. And then the transfer to the airport's cash fund, $17,813,000. This is the department's operating account for total expenditures of $45,922,000. We also anticipate reserves to be $1,788,000. These are funds estimated that we receive this year to be used in 2018 on future capital. And then I mentioned the capital outlay has been reduced, and we're projecting $41,880,000, and all of that balances the budget at $89,590,000. I want to just talk about a few of the completed projects that we've done this last year. We've replaced the asphalt ends of Taxiway Hotel with concrete. This is a project that's over $7.6 billion. This is the furthest parallel taxiway on the east side of Will Rogers World Airport, and it's important that we replace this with concrete because concrete is more weight-bearing than asphalt, and this will support our future aeronautical development with heavier aircraft on the east side of the airport. We also purchased 3 parking shuttle buses, and I only put this in the slide presentation because I want to highlight that we're now 100% CNG with our public parking fleet. We have always been CNG with our rental car bus fleet. The Portland Avenue project is winding down. It'll be finished before July 1st, and the total cost on this project to the airport over the last few years is $12,400,000, and this is a significant realignment of Portland Avenue to support our Lariat Landing development. The last remaining portions of this is to energize the Esplanade lighting, which is on the north phase of the project, which will be soon, and also do a little bit more utility work with the drainage infrastructure, and we'll be done with that project. And looking at the irrigation upgrade that we did, this supports our irrigation from the terminal building all the way north to Airport Road, which is airport property. We added 93 new and upgraded new zones. Actually, there's 135 zones that are in this entire system. We had a new booster pump installed to provide needed pressure and a new controller so that we can control the zones 24/7. So this is an enhanced capability to make the airport look much more aesthetic for the public. We also had a multi-year project at Wiley Post Airport. We've had Phase 1 and Phase 2, and we're doing Phase 3 now, but Phase 2 was a major airfield improvement to the airport's primary runway. It included rehabilitation of the runway, regrooved the entire length of the runway to have better friction for aircraft landing. We also had a large portion of the project which included an upgrade to the runway electrical system, over $6.6 million. Mike Monroney, we are always doing mechanical system replacements, and we did a multi-purpose building and boiler replacement project, a little over $1.1 million. On Mike Monroney's campus, we're also responsible for certain apron and pavement repairs. This is the 17-acre apron for Hangar 8 and 9, over $5.1 million, and that was completed. I want to visit about some ongoing projects which are important to the Trust moving forward. Some of these we have already started, such as the parking and revenue control system. We're budgeting $2.5 million this fiscal year. The total cost of the project is $3.7 million. The system is obsolete and out of date that we have today. It can't be supported by new parts or service agreements, and the existing system will be completely replaced. All the infrastructure will be brand new. It'll provide network capability for better tracking and revenue, which is something that we've needed for some time, and it will also provide certain amenities such as pay-on-foot kiosk, space-by-space vehicle parking space counts in Garage B, and also level-by-level counts in Garage C. In a couple of months, we'll be bidding the roadway and garage signage replacement project. We're anticipating $3 million in fiscal year 2018. It's a total project of over $5 million. This replaces all the roadway signage coming in from Airport Road into the terminal, and also replaces the garage signage in Garage A, B, and C. We also have design replacement signage for the terminal building, existing terminal building. It will be done when we do the terminal expansion, which we're going to be bidding later this year. Station 2 Garage A renovation project. This is a $2.7 billion project, so it's a multi-year project, and what you see here is the 24-inch escalator that's in badly need of getting rid of. It's just not suitable for today's carry-on, and so we have a lot of work that we're doing in Station 2. Station 2 is the first station when you come out of the terminal building into the pedestrian tunnel, and it's underneath Garage A. So we're going to be removing these 2 escalators. We're going to be upgrading two hydraulic elevators that are already present, and we'll be adding 2 new elevators. These are going to be larger and faster elevators. They're going to have glass fronts, so they'll be much more visible to the public, and they'll also be designed so that when the public comes up to the elevator, it'll have the door open to help speed up the wait time. We'll also be doing substantial mechanical systems improvement. There's a mechanical room there that's close by. That a lot of that has to be relocated. We're going to upgrade and repair the exterior finishes and the roof for better waterproofing, upgrade lighting, and also upgrade the sliding doors on the garage, top of Garage A. Moving to the terminal expansion early site package, this is a $3.2 million project. We're nearly finished with this. We have just a little bit left to go in 2018. In the below left picture, you can see the old cargo building there, and in the top right picture, you can see that it's gone. So when we were doing the terminal expansion project, it became evident very early on that we needed to eliminate some barriers to the expansion project. We didn't want to go full in with a terminal expansion project and have these barriers drag it down time-wise, and so we wanted to get rid of these barriers, which included the demolition of the cargo building, relocation of certain utilities, and now what's left is to relocate some telecommunications cables and communications with AT&T and Chickasaw Communications. The terminal expansion, we're approaching 65% design. We hope to bid this out later this year. Our construction estimate is still at $74.5 million, and our goals are to increase gate capacity with 4 new gates. These will be 3 new airline lease gates and then 1 large airport gate with capacity to handle a wide-bodied aircraft. Some of our goals are to improve airport functionality by bringing an office up on the ticket counter level for airport police, move our operations functions back into the main building, as well as enhance the accommodations for the Military Welcome Center. We're also wanting to improve passenger processing. The new construction will include a new 8-lane security checkpoint. Our exit lanes will be turned into meter greeter lobbies, and we're going to be increasing public circulation. Taxiway K is a taxiway connector that took a beating for a couple of years while we were underway with our taxiway C and G project. It's a little over $1.1 million project. Total cost of this is $1.3 million, and we'll be bidding that out in the next, well, actually on this trust, and hopefully get started by the end of the summer. We have the upper level deck structural repair project. This is another FAA project. We'll be doing phase 1, anticipated to be $600,000, again on today's agenda to advertise the bids. The first phase is to remove the soffit, and the soffit is when you come out of baggage claim. It's the overhang that you see under the first 3-lane drive area outside baggage claim. We need to remove that as the first phase so that we can get an architectural and engineering evaluation of the bridge deck to determine the extent of any repairs that may be necessary, and that will be comprised next year for phase 2. Taxiway G extension is a major project, over $2.8 million. Taxiway G is the longest east-west taxiway at Will Rogers. We will be extending this taxiway east across Old Portland Avenue. The significance of this project is that it will create a lot of large tract parcels available for future aeronautical development. So we're excited to get this going. At Wiley Post Airport, we have a new project to construct a new maintenance facility, a little over $1.5 million, and these kind of pictures sort of speak for themselves. We will have a new office area constructed with new maintenance space. Also at Wiley Post, we're underway with Phase 3 project, total project cost of $4.1 million. This is to rehabilitate taxiways A and B and replace associated signage and airfield lighting. At Mike Monroney, we've got electrical and mechanical improvements. I've already mentioned that of a little over $2.5 million. Several building improvements. The trust is typically responsible for the exterior structure and roof of all trust-owned buildings, and we have about 31 buildings on Mike Monroney's campus that we maintain. We maintain about 2.6 million square foot of the rooftops of the total 3.3 million that are on the campus. We have lots of streets and parking lots that we maintain. We actually maintain about 70 acres of parking lots, and so we'll be spending about $5.6 million to support them on those improvements. And looking at the summary of our ongoing and new projects, you can see that we divide the capital projects up by airport, but we always carve out Mike Monroney because it's a significant line of business for us. And again, you see the capital outlay of $41,880,000. The table below outlines what our sources of funds are to achieve this objectives. At the left, you see the AIP, or the Airport Improvement Program funding from the Federal Aviation Administration in the form of the 90% grants funded by FAA. The PFCs are the passenger facility charges that support our capital program. We have a significant amount of money in tenant maintenance funds, and again, these are from the lease components to help us fund tenant improvements that are the lessor's responsibility for maintenance. And we're projecting almost $16 million of trust funds, and this will take care of the Wiley Post maintenance building, continue our parking and access revenue control system, the wayfinding, the elevator that I mentioned at Station 2, and also fund the 10% match to our grants. And then we have a slight amount that we're reserving for potential for other programs. And looking at the airport's cash fund, we organize it by our lines of business. So again, we have $17,813,000, and this is the third year in a row that we're not anticipating any net new positions at the airport. However, we do have a few changes in the budget, and we're increasing, Karen, if you'll go to the next slide. We're increasing insurance and benefits and salaries. There's a slight increase of $236,000, a slight decrease in city-provided services. We are reorganizing 2 positions at the airport, and we've worked with personnel on this to delete an admin specialist position and add a landside operations manager, and also deleting the contract coordinator and adding the property title of a property technician that best reflects the work that's being done with that classification. That's the budget for next year, and be happy to answer any questions and request your approval.
Question, in light of recent events, Mark, has there been any rethinking of any need to change as we move forward in our construction on the terminal, to change the way we allow security to take over?
No, the 8-lane security checkpoint that we're planning is a huge improvement from what we have today. The checkpoints that we have today really have never met a TSA design standard, and you may remember that after the 9/11 incident, we were already underway with our terminal renovation project to get started on that, and so we had already designed that. So we had to go back and redesign after 9/11 event when TSA got stood up, that we had to create a space to be able to have a checkpoint. So we created those 2 security checkpoints. So now we need to make that better. And I think that this 8-lane security checkpoint will see us long into the future, so we don't have to Band-Aid anymore our checkpoint, because TSA is always evolving. They're always changing things on how they do their checkpoints and treat their passengers with the processing. New equipment comes in. This will have enough room that we don't have to change, or we can change with them and not be a substantial change to our design of our building.
Comments or questions from trustees?
Mark, on Marriott Landing, it costs money to do development work, to get the expertise you need and all that.
Yes.
How do you provide for that? Because it'll be a long time before you start getting the revenue side.
Portland Avenue was something that we committed to a long time ago, and it was definitely an investment in the future. We had been planning to spend dollars on Portland Avenue for a long time, and we knew that we wouldn't have a revenue source for it for some time. I will tell you that we do have infrastructure recovery fees that we charge in all of our leases. We have that in the Air Inc., which is now Field Services lease. We have that in the Atlantic lease. So anytime we do airport development funded infrastructure such as water and wastewater, we put a value, a time value on that, and we put a component in the lease to pay ourselves back for the construction of that improvement. We anticipate when we start developing parcels for Lariat Landing that we will also start to be able to recapture some of those funds that built Portland Avenue. That's our plan. Request your approval.
I move approval, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion to approve, and Terry, a second. Any further questions or discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes. And the budget is approved. Director's report.
I have 3 items this morning. The first, I would like to mention that we're partnering with the Sam Noble, Oklahoma Museum of Natural History. We have an opportunity to have a mural painted in the baggage claim area. This is in the center of baggage claim. This is formerly where the Hertz rental car counter was, and when the rental car companies moved out to the new rental car center, it created some wall space that we have available. And we've had a couple of uses that we've used that wall for, but now we've got an opportunity to do something else. And so The museum is going to commission a local artist, Nick Bayer, to paint a mural called Hidden Treasures. It will depict several aspects of the natural and cultural objects that are already found at the museum. We anticipate painting of the mural will start the first or second week of June. We have a permit for this through the end of this year with an option to extend it for 5 months. The museum understands that this is a temporary mural, given that this space will be renovated into more baggage office space when we do the terminal renovation. The other item I would like to mention is that we are partnering again with the Transportation Security Administration, and we're going to be helping them sponsor a third mobile pre-check at the airport for July 16th through the 21st. The first 2 pre-check enrollments we had at the Will Rogers Terminal was very successful, so we're going to do this again. The goal of TSA is to try to get 40% of all passengers at the airport to be pre-check qualified. That's a lofty goal. Remind the public there is an application fee of $85 to be pre-check qualified with the TSA, and you should be able to go to the TSA's website now and be able to schedule the airport location for your appointment. That's been very successful, and we're happy to partner with them on that. The last thing I want to announce is a couple of air service developments. Allegiant Airlines, which does seasonal service at Will Rogers, is beginning service beginning this June 1 through August 13th. It's just for the summer, but it's new service to Los Angeles or LAX. The flights will operate on 2 days a week, Thursdays and Sundays. The flight will depart Los Angeles at 7:30 a.m. Los Angeles time, arriving here at Oklahoma City at 12:15, depart Oklahoma City at 1 o'clock to arrive back in LAX Pacific time at 2 p.m. So we're excited about that, and we hope that that will turn into more than just seasonal service. The other thing I want to mention is that American Airlines is starting a third flight or a third frequency that will be operating daily in August to Charlotte, North Carolina. So we're excited about that as well. So a couple of good air service announcements. And those are my reports this morning, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Director. Questions or comments from? Do we need to vote to accept this? No. Okay. Moving along then, Will Rogers World Airport.
Item A is to approve Amendment Number 9 to the contract with TTK Construction Company for the Portland Avenue Realignment Project, deducting $2,261.89 and approving Change Order 7, adding $897.53. Item B is approve Amendment Number 3 to the contract with Wynn Construction Company for our terminal expansion enabling works project. We're adding $2,760, approving Change Order 5, adding $1,840. Item C is to concur with the Consultant Review Committee and authorize negotiation of a contract with ADG. This is for the elevator replacement project at various buildings on the Mike Monroney campus. Item D is concur with the Consultant Review Committee and authorize negotiation of a contract with CEC Corporation. This is for the project to do some medium voltage transformer replacement work and also some work at the radar antenna lab at Mike Monroney Aeronautical Center. Excuse me. Item E is to approve Change Order 1 to the contract with our parking and revenue control system with SKIDATA. We're adding $5,976. F is to approve the plans and project manuals submitted by Triad Design Group for a Mike Monroney project to repair the Thomas P. Stafford building parking lot, advertising bids to be open on the 27th of June. G is approving the plans and project manual by ADG for the terminal building upper level deck structural repairs project. This is the soffit removal I stated earlier. We're authorizing advertisement for bids to be open on June 20th. H is approving the plans and project manuals submitted by MacArthur Associated Consultants for our project to extend taxiway G. Authorize advertisement for bids to be open June 20th. I is to approve the plans and project manuals submitted by Garver. This is for the terminal apron pavement rehabilitation project at taxiway K. Advertisement of bids to be open on June 20th. Item J is approving addendas 1, 2, and 3 to the request for proposals for the real estate development proposal we did for Lariat Landing and rejecting that single proposal. Item K is to adopt the resolution authorizing the sole source purchase of some seat cushion replacements from Arconis Corporation for $3,075. Item L is adopt the resolution declaring 2 passenger shuttle buses to be surplus to the needs of the trust and authorize the disposal of those. Item M is to approve the annual budget for Protec Fire Services for a firefighting contract in the amount of $2,184,277. And last item N is to approve supplement number 3 to the management services agreement with ABM Parking for our parking operation at Will Rogers Airport, and also to introduce the electrical vehicles charging stations, which will be in our premium parking product. Annual budget of $1,960,000 and $960,029 commencing July the 1st. Those are all the items for Will Rogers. Request your approval.
We have a motion second. Any questions or comments?
Quick question. When do you expect the premium parking to be up and running?
John, we're about through, is that right, with our ceiling on the upper deck of Garage A?
Well, we're on the last piece trying to get the ceiling done. Once we do that, then we can continue our painting and striping work that we have to do with the wall.
And we've been doing, airport staff has been doing a significant amount of work underneath in the lower level, that we're doing everything that we can until they seal up the front. So I'm hopeful within a month, hopefully. Karen, do you think?
Great.
Yeah, we hope. That's been a challenge, just to let you know. We've had 3 engineering challenges on that project that we've had to try to find ways to make it work. And so it's been a difficult project. That garage was done in the 1960s. It was done when the terminal was first done in the 1960s, and so it's got a lot of challenges to it. And so the engineers have had their hands full.
Mark, how many spaces will that, additional spaces will that provide?
About 231 spaces underneath for the premium parking product. And some of those will be reserved, as I mentioned in my February council presentation. I think we're going to start off with about 32 that will be reserved, but we anticipate that growing.
Right. I was just going to mention the last 2 occasions that I flew out of Oklahoma City, the covered parking facilities were full, and even the outdoor with the canopies was full as well. So that'll be a nice addition.
We see that a lot this time of year.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Mark, Dennis Flowers prefers the term construction challenges as opposed to engineering challenges.
I was just wondering, who were the engineers who were challenging? That's what I want to know.
We all have our challenges. Request your approval.
There may be some more questions or comments, sir.
I'm ready for them.
We have a request for approval.
We have a motion.
We have a motion and a second? Okay. Any further discussion? Please cast your votes on the items for Will Rogers. And they are so approved. Wally Post and Clarence E. Page.
Thanks. Item A is to approve the request for bids for an automated weather observing system replacement project. This is so users at Page Airport can get up-to-date weather. Advertising bids to be open on June 20th, and this is an FAA project to be funded at 90%. Item B is to approve the request for proposals for a building known as the Shamrock Building and the associated premises at Wiley Post Airport, authorizing the proposals to be received on June 27th. Those are all the items for general aviation.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion second. Any comments or questions? Please cast your votes. And Wiley Post is approved. Lease and other agreements. The general, excuse me.
Thank you. Under general, we ask for you to receive our standard reports, the delinquent accounts receivable report, which is a little over $11 million this month, our construction project status report, and the budget to actual report. Item B is to approve amendment number 3 to our on-call facility maintenance engineering agreement with Frankfurt Short Bruza Associates, renewing for 1 year commencing June 1st. And last, item C is to approve addendas 1, 2, and 3 for our request for proposals to design and produce marketing and promotional materials, concur with the selection review committee, and authorize negotiation of a contract with Funnel Design Group. Those are all the items under general.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval. I do have one comment or correction. I think Mark said their delinquent receivables were a little over $11 million.
But that's say 11
He's been
million. I saw
dealing
it.
with too many zeros. It's 11,000, and I think our staff does a great job.
Thank you. They do, and I must still be in my budget presentation.
Yeah, right.
We were talking in the millions.
I think it's a tie right now, 1-1, so we need a tiebreaker on Scribner errors.
That would be Francis' area. Okay, thank you.
You've heard the items under general. Do we have a motion?
Yes, we do.
And a second. Seeing none, please cast your votes. So done. Lease and other agreements.
All right, item A is to accept the assumption agreement and use guarantee for the sale of a T-hanger at PWA Incorporated in accordance with their agreement. Item B is to approve 3 supplemental farm lease agreements. We're extending the terms of these leases to December 31st of 2017 for Clarence E. Page Airport and Will Rogers World Airport. Item C is to approve supplement number 2 to the lease agreement with Metro Technology Center School District. Number 22, this is for their lease of their premises and certain facilities for the operation of their Aviation Career Center at Will Rogers. And item D is to approve supplement lease agreement number 2. This is for the ATM teller machine with MidFirst Bank. And item E is to approve 3 ground services agreements with various companies for ground transportation services at Will Rogers. Those are all the leases and agreements.
Having heard the leases and other agreements, hear a motion? A second. Any discussion? Please cast your votes. And is so approved. Next item is paragraph 9. Adopt the requisition resolution dated May 25th to ratify the action of the Director of Airports on the requisitions dated May 25th, 2017 for payment, and also to adopt the requisition resolution dated May 25th authorizing payments of requisitions dating May 25th, 2017.
Move all of that.
All of that. Second. Motion is second. Any questions? And is so done. Comments from trustees? Seeing none. Any comments from staff? Again, seeing none. Any citizen wishing to be heard? And seeing none, we are adjourned.